Hi everyone, Ken from Oz here. So this video is going to be about setting up my 2022 Moleskine Pocket Notebook. So this is a week on one page with the other page is notes, and putting it into my D-ringed Pocket Malden ochre. Everyone should be familiar with that. And so this is basically just how I'm going to set it up. I'm going to try and do it as quickly as I can. What I decided to do was to find a page that I really liked as my starting page for 2022. So I tend to get every page ready in advance, but I thought the very first week of the year I want to try and get it looking good. So I actually chose this one here, and it's got some wheat washi tape, some borders, nice little quote here which I'll talk about in a second where I got that from, and just the set out. I think it's a really good start. As you can see, it's very minimalist, black, dark tones and so on. So I'm going to just get straight into how I open this up and to get this ready. So I'll start with opening up the Malden. You may have noticed that I had this sticky tape which is got a couple of sports shirts. Now the reason I stuck that there was just so I could keep it, but I want to use the Australian shirt. Obviously I'm Australian, and put that in to nominate Australia Day, which is in January, but I just sort of stuck it on there so I wouldn't lose it, and I bought this roll of tape at a very cheap dollar store, so I'm going to leave that over there for later. And opening Moleskine binders are very exciting. Just make sure that you take care when you're opening everything up. It's got the plastic there. I ordered these online, and for an Australian dollar there was about $30, maybe a bit less, maybe 26 Australian dollars. So I'm just going to very carefully open up the plastic and pull it off. So for some people watching this video, you probably have never seen a Moleskine before, and they are very, very good for having something very compact. They're made very, very well. So just open it up like that. You've got the cover slip which we take off. I would like to just recommend too that when you do buy them, especially if you buy them in the store, that you always check. There's always a picture there of the type of inserts that you have, and make sure. I have been caught out a couple of times buying the wrong Moleskine, and so it's very handy to have that. Now, don't need that. You can use this Moleskine to create a little calendar which you can put together. I don't use that, so that's going to be filed under WPB, waste paper basket. The other thing I wanted to look at is just, oops, get a little bit blurry. There we go. Just to make sure that I've got everything in here, and it's a very, very clean look. Okay, so we've got notes on this side and then the diary side on that side. Now, the thing that I probably wouldn't be too keen on with these Moleskine books is the amount of information that is always provided in the beginning, and you have a year calendar. I never really use these, but I do use them just to write lists, and I stick things in here, but yeah, it's a bit of a waste. And if you look at the percentage of the paper that it takes up, it's around about a quarter. So I tend to not use that, and I'll just have to adjust my controls again. So here we go. And yep, it tends to just be a little bit of a waste and add to the bulk, but that's the way it is. And if I was king of Moleskine, I'd probably try and offer an alternative to that. Although occasionally some of these things, for instance, there's a ruler there, and some of the calendars are very handy. At the back we have a open up folio which has lots of stickers. So I tend to use just the one sticker, and then I just basically give these away. And then also a whole big blurb about Moleskine, which I have never read. So I'm going to put those to the side. The good thing about this is it does fit into my Malden quite well. So I'll just show you here. The back cover slips in to the back of the Malden sleeve very tightly in here, and I just leave it there. And then at the very end of the year, once I'm finished, I use the elastic to hold it together, and that secures it at the end of the year. Mind you, if you have a quick look, you'll see that the thickness throughout the year changes. Okay, and that's the beauty of the quality of the Moleskine. It does accommodate adding a lot in it and allowing it to expand. Okay, so what we need to do is go to the very first page of the year, which is this is always a bit of a challenge for me because it does include the last week of December, which I also have in my previous 2021. So I'm going to actually be starting with this page here, which is January 3rd, rather than use this as I have this as a decoration. So usually I'll write lists of everything I'm going to transfer over. Because it's a doubling up and there's a lot of writing, I don't really need to write everything out again. So I'm going to just move the bookmark up. Now, so I'm going to decorate the page, and I have used the system for quite a long time, so I'm just going to quickly show you how I do that. And the things that I need, I keep in my Malden, which is a grey highlighter. This is a mild liner, which I get from Officeworks Australia. And then my other tool is at the back, a custom-made stencil for putting checkboxes in, which I made at my work, just using a laser cutter. And that's basically it to start off. So what do I do? Well, I start off with the width of this ruler, and I will draw a line. And if you notice here, the date on the Sunday, it comes up just about right. And I use this as a bit of a guide for my writing. So appointments are on the left and then notes are on the right. And then I use the thick part of the highlighter and just draw a line all the way up, like so. But I leave this space here, and I've talked about this space as well, that I tend to, if I was really wanting to design this, I would have Monday up here. This is a bit of a wasted space as well. As you can see, my weekends, this Sunday and Saturday on the same line, and obviously people at Moleskine don't do very much on the weekends. So the second part is I've also put a small line on the edge of Saturday because I'm putting checkboxes there, so I just draw that. Now what this is a background color. And then the third one is I usually just mark with my stencil, just so that I know. It's a very handy tool to have, this one, because it tends to help me see my highlighting. So I'm going to draw a highlighting line all the way down, and like so, and this will be the margin for my notes, and I do this all the way down like so to the very top. And that's my start. So what I've got here is these grey margin checkbox section. So now I'm going to use a stencil to create the checkboxes. Alright, so using the stencil now, so what I do is I've had this measured out specifically. It was laser cut, and now I'm going to use it using that highlighter to guide it. And in hindsight, I should have made it quite longer so it fits the whole week, but I'm getting used to it, and I will actually probably get another one made very soon. So I line them up so that I've got 4 check boxes per day, and then I use a 0.28 pen, which I do get from Officeworks, Build Your Own Pen. However, they have decided not to continue that line. So what I'll be doing is checking out different gel pens that are 0.28. It just seems to be the right one for this. It's very fine, and also these tended to have quite a large to get into these checkbox stencils. So anyway, I'm just going to quickly glue these down. Bit hard to see, so I'll try and do it at an angle. But basically, you just draw a square around, and I'll just pull that away so you can see, and it keeps it quite neat. You can buy your own stencils, I guess, but I just found that when I looked around, nothing really suited the page size and dimension of the Moleskine, so I made it myself, which is a tendency to do. If you can't really find what you need, then it's always an easy way around to repurpose something. So I'm just going to keep going. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I tend to want to have these fairly straight, and because these weekend labels are down for Saturday and Sunday, I tend to just go through the date and the day at the bottom, because I sort of know that it's what day it is. So that gives me that line there. And then of course I'm going to just quickly do 4 on this side, and it just fits. And what I do find is that the grey highlighter line tends to just make everything stand out just that little bit more. And finally, I just do the other one, and this works out on this page. This is my notes page. Works out that it does go to the very center of each of the lines here. So I'll very quickly do this. And turn it around, and that's the starting point. Now, it does take a little while to do that. It's actually, I find it quite therapeutic to just be able to do that. And as you can probably see in the video, the grey highlighter does sort of merges in a little bit, but that's my starting point. And this is more functional because I use checkboxes to check tasks or to carry over tasks as well. So that's all for the highlighting and the checkboxes. And now I'm going to create little zones for using washi tape, getting ready for my first page. So now I'm going to be using washi tape to just create a bit more of an interest. I know it's fairly minimalist, but I do like to have just a little bit of decoration. Why? Well, it helps me to know that there are different pages, and also it just visually just looks a bit more interesting for me to use. So what I'm going to do is use 2 types of washi tape today. So I've got this one, and this has got wheat. Now I've got a whole variety of different ones, and I'll just show you. There's some like a stop motion of people jumping, or a person jumping, and then I've got just flags. So these are just my standard ones. Occasionally I branch out to a sort of like a, I don't know, that's like a Victorian pattern, but you can sort of see that my color scheme is basically black, white, and very, very dull, sort of dark brown, grey colors. And I've used a lot of different colors. Occasionally I do colors for, say, a certain occasion, but basically that seems to be visually the best for me. So what I need to do now is tend to put a big washi tape on the very top of the page, and that serves 2 purposes. It's sort of out of the way, but also when I use paper clips and everything, and also put post-it notes, I tend to put it on the washi tape, and it tends not to pull up the paper. So it's got a bit of a function to it as well. Now I do this quite roughly. I don't really want to take a lot of time and care, because if I do a few at a time, I'll be there for quite a while. So what I usually tend to do is I open up the washi tape. I might do it that way so it's easy to see, and just stretch it out. And you've got to be very careful with the indentation between the pages, and so I need to use something to just crease that. But first thing I do is I try and line it up as best I can so it just overlaps the top of the page like so, and just stick it down. And I try to line it up so it doesn't go over the edge, because if you've got 52 of these, it's going to definitely sort of make a bit of a problem. And then I get the creasing tool, and I just sort of push it in to the crease like so, just so that's fine. And then I will reline it. And I've gone over some of those checkpoints, but that's okay. I tend to not worry about that too much, and occasionally I have used ones up on the top cutting, of course. And a couple of people have asked me about these scissors that I have used in the past. Now these are probably maybe 40-50-year-old scissors that I got sharpened at the local shoemaker, and I find that these are very good for fine tuning. I think you can get them very similar ones at craft stores and so on. And then I do tend to make sure that I cut just the corners. I don't tend to take too much care with that, and then the other side as well. So I'm just going to knead it up just a little bit like so, and occasionally I do nip the corner, but that's okay. I've learned a long time ago that if I aim for over neat, it tends not to really, doesn't really need to be that neat for me. Okay, second thing we're going to be using is a line across the top and also the bottom. And what I do is I divide this up into two sections. So I've got my reminder notes here, and then I've developed down the bottom, this one's for paying bills or purchases, just so I've got a very quick place for each week. So in case I've paid a big bill or I've got something upcoming that's to do with finances, and it's always in this place there. And usually I never end up using the bottom bit, so it's worked out quite well. Now what I have done here is get my cutting board, because I have found a whole heap of these very small, thin, dark brown, grey and black washi tape strips, but these are still slightly too wide, so I think they're about a 5mm. And so I've taken the strip and I've just measured it to be just slightly bigger than that, which I think is about 18 centimeters width of the book. And then with a sharp knife I've gone down and I've cut one up to about 2/3 or about 3mm down. So just using the ruler and the blade, and I've already pre-cut this so I won't pretend that I'm doing this properly, and then I just cut it down like so, and then you'll see that it will lift up, getting my hand out of the way, and you'll see a smaller strip, and I'm going to use this sort of 3mm strip down the side like so, just to make it just a little bit better. And I'll use that across the bottom. I'm just going to go over the page slightly. Let's try again. Now the thinner washi tape tends to be a bit easier to work with than the thicker one, and you can apply it, lift it up. It's very low tack as well, and of course I just use my fingernail to push it in and cut it off down the side like so and like so. Now in normal pages, you can see it sort of divides that bit there, but in normal pages I would put another one of those lines across there, but in this case I really liked something I did earlier, so I'm going to put another row of washi tape from the top. I'm going to put it just above the weekend line like so, and cut it off. Now normally it will be just a small thin line because my week's very busy, but first week in January not so busy. So that's there, and then of course that's right up to the seam of the page. And then the next thing I'm going to do is add something that I found on Wish. So I don't want to advertise Wish, but I will. And it's just one of these stickers that give you quotes. This is called Junk Journal Sentiment stickers from Judy Craft. And this one is Words stickers by Art Journal. So these are the ones I'm going to use today. I think these are the Judy Craft ones. And you can see there's a whole range of different stickers that you just basically can pull off and paste them in like so. So this one is one that I thought was a really good way to start the year off. When nothing is sure, everything is possible, and it's in dark print, and I'll just pull that off. But you can see that that's in dark, brown, and then black and white as well. And there's all repeating, so if you've got one that you like in dark print, you can use it in black and white. And then I've got some brown ones, and these are more random ones, and they're a bit smaller, and some of them are themed, like Deck the Halls, Enjoy Your Special Day, and some of them don't even make sense. She burst into tears. I mean, what do you use that for? Raining cats and dogs. There's a whole range of different ones, so I might do a video just to show you those at a different time. But I thought this fits in really well, and also the size is quite good. So what I'm going to do here is place it just in the middle as a way of creating a border like so. And there is my first week of January ready to go. Now occasionally I may use the very top, and I don't have it perfectly lined up. Sometimes I might just cut this little bit off as well, but basically that's my very first page for January 2020. So I hope that gives you some information, some ideas. I'll try and post another one on my regular setup page, but yeah, so I'm ready to go. So I'll put my appointments down here, and then on the weekend I sort of mix them up both. I tend to put appointments and sort of like reminders, and then on this side is just 4 main things that I usually do during the day that I need to get done, and I might use a highlighter sticker, and then for the week I will write down notes to remember, and so on here. So this is more for notes, finances, daily appointments, and the important things I've got to get done throughout the day, or I might put a birthday reminder and so on. All right, so that's my setup. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on another video.